There have been some classic draft day stories in the past, but none in recent memory comes to mind more than the Green Bay Packers trading up to take an unproven quarterback from Utah State while Aaron Rodgers was still in the prime of his career. Jordan Love was a pick that nobody thought was a good idea until it turned out to be the perfect choice for Green Bay. In hindsight, Love should have never fallen to the 26th pick, so how did he? What happened to every player that was selected ahead of him? In this video, we'll be going over all 25 players taken before Jordan Love in the 2020 NFL Draft and how their careers have panned out, starting with the first overall pick by the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow. After his Heisman Trophy winning season at LSU in 2019, everybody in the football world knew Joe Burrow was going to be the first overall pick. The Bengals had just gone 2-14, tied for the worst season in franchise history, and it was clear that a major change was needed. Luckily, Joe Burrow fell right into their lap. Burrow had been coming off of arguably the greatest single statistical season in college football history, throwing for 5,671 yards, 60 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions, winning the Heisman Trophy and ultimately leading LSU to a national championship, cementing the 2019 LSU Tigers as one of, if not the greatest college football team of all time. So it was clear who Cincinnati wanted to run their offense for the next decade. Burrow would have a decent rookie year until he unfortunately tore his ACL 10 games in. However, Burrow would somehow return for the 2021 season, starting all 16 games, earning the Comeback Player of the Year award and leading the Bengals to the Super Bowl before ultimately losing to the LA Rams. Since then, Burrow has been widely recognized as one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL, even signing a 5-year, $275 million extension in 2023, making this pick more than worth it. The second pick was edge rusher Chase Young to the Washington football team at the time. Young was a can't-miss prospect out of Ohio State, and his rookie year with Washington completely proved that claim to be true, recording 7.5 sacks and earning the honor of being named the 2020 NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. Knee injuries would be a trend with the first 2 picks, however, as Young would tear his ACL late into a disappointing sophomore season, ending his second-year campaign and preventing him from playing in the majority of his third year. In 2023, Young would take a step back in a struggling Washington defense and would ultimately be traded to the San Francisco 49ers at the trade deadline, a move that would potentially save Young's career. Young thrived under Kyle Shanahan and played on the opposite edge of former college teammate Nick Bosa on their Super Bowl contending defense. Selected third by the Detroit Lions was another Ohio State defender, cornerback Jeff Okudah. The Lions thought they were getting a lockdown corner, but the pick was a miss. Okudah had a ton of hype coming out of Ohio State. After an injury-riddled first 2 seasons as a pro, Okudah would finally play his first full season in 2022, ultimately losing his job as a starter in Detroit. In the 2023 offseason, Okudah would be dealt to the Atlanta Falcons, where he served as a second-string corner. The first offensive tackle would come off the board at pick 4, as the New York Giants would select Andrew Thomas. Thomas was a raw prospect but had all the talent in the world, so New York took a chance on him. Thomas would have a rough rookie year, with many Giants fans calling him a bust, but since then, he's been one of the best and most consistent tackles in all of football. Thomas is a prime example of why you can't give up on a player after their rookie season, especially not when they are labeled as raw coming into the draft. Great pick by the Giants. Taken 5th overall by the Miami Dolphins was quarterback Tua Tago. Many were surprised at this pick, considering who was still on the board. We'll get to that in a second. But Tua has proved the haters wrong with the help of coach Mike McDaniel. His first 2 seasons as a pro were nothing special, but in the 2022 offseason, the Dolphins made a huge move to bring Tua some major help, making a move for Kansas City Chiefs All-Pro wideout Tyreek Hill. After that move, Tua led Miami to 2 very competitive seasons, including a Pro Bowl season in 2023, where he led the NFL in passing yards with 4,624. Despite the stats in 2023, some Dolphin fans wish their team drafted the guy who was taken the pick after Tua, Justin Herbert. With the 6th pick, the Los Angeles Chargers took Herbert, a strong-arm, big-bodied quarterback from Oregon. Herbert had a very strong start to his career, winning the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year award after breaking the rookie record for passing touchdowns with 31. Since, Herbert has looked like an elite talent, but there's one glaring issue that keeps him out of the top quarterbacks in the NFL conversation. He hasn't won anything. Herbert has all the talent in the world, even throwing for over 5,000 yards and 38 touchdowns in 2021, but when the lights are bright, he tends to fold under the pressure. Now, the Chargers franchise hasn't done much to help Herbert, but the point still stands. Only time will tell if this uber-talented quarterback can finally lead his team to success. The Carolina Panthers held the 7th pick and chose defensive tackle Derek Brown. Since his rookie year, Brown has been a very good interior defender for the Panthers, but his true breakout was in 2023, when he broke the NFL record for tackles in a season by a defensive tackle with 103. Brown is one of the best run stuffers in all of football, making this a fantastic pick by Carolina. The next pick would be the Arizona Cardinals, selecting defensive ace Isaiah Simmons. Simmons would go into the draft as one of the most hyped-up prospects in recent memory due to his elite athleticism and outstanding performance at the Combine. However, his NFL career would not turn out how everyone expected, as he would only play one full season as a starter in Arizona, followed by another average year before being shipped off to the New York Giants in the 2023 offseason. Drafted 9th by the Jacksonville Jaguars is yet another cornerback bust, C.J. Henderson. It would only take until midway through his second season for Jacksonville to trade him to the Carolina Panthers, where he has spent his time as a backup cornerback since 2021. With the 10th and 11th picks, the Cleveland Browns and New York Jets both went tackle, taking Jedrick Wills and Mekhi Becton, respectively. Wills has served as a solid right tackle for the Browns, while Becton has suffered through a very injury-riddled career, which is unfortunate because there's some clear talent there as a left tackle. With the 12th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders took the first receiver of the draft, selecting Henry Ruggs out of Alabama. The story of Henry Ruggs is truly a sad one. After an average rookie year, Ruggs looked to be breaking out in the second, having 469 yards through 7 games. However, on November 2, 2021, Ruggs was involved in a fatal car crash where he drunkenly drove 156 miles per hour, taking the life of an innocent woman and her dog. Ruggs would ultimately be cut from the Raiders, banished from the NFL, and sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison. Just a horrible situation. Next up, the 13th overall pick belonged to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They selected offensive tackle Tristanwfs. Wirfs has stayed healthy, played great, and even made an All-Pro team in 2021 for the Bucs. Fantastic value for Tampa. With the 14th overall pick, the San Francisco 49ers chose Javon Kinlaw, who started his career with a promising start before suffering injuries in the 2021 and 2022 seasons. Now, he serves as a backup for the loaded defensive line of the Niners. The next pick, the Denver Broncos took wide receiver Jerry Judy at 15th overall. Judy has had a very underwhelming career, to say the least. The best season of his career came in 2022, when he caught 67 passes for 972 yards and 6 touchdowns, giving him high expectations going into 2023, but those expectations were never met, and Broncos fans are wondering if Judy is a bust, especially considering the talent at wide receiver that was still available coming up on the board. Pick 16 was the Atlanta Falcons, selecting cornerback A.J. Terrell, an all-pro cornerback in his second season and continues to play like one today. Great pick by the Falcons. Pick 17 would be a big one, as the Dallas Cowboys would take C.D. Lamb. Lamb has only recorded one season with less than 1,000 yards as a receiver, and it was his rookie season, and he still put up 935. The guy's ridiculous. In 2023, he would make his first All-Pro team with an NFL-leading 135 receptions, 1,749 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Remember when we said that Broncos fans called Judy a bust because of the talented receivers still available? This is one of them. At pick 18, the Miami Dolphins were again on the clock, and they took offensive tackle Austin Jackson from USC, who's been a solid starter for them in his young career. Pick 19 would be another tragic one, as the Las Vegas Raiders took cornerback Damon Arnette. Disclaimer, Mike Mayock and John Gruden were the regime in charge of this draft and should never be in charge of a draft again, period. Arnette was accused very early in his career of many crimes, including, like Ruggs, a car crash that injured a woman. Arnette would be released from the Raiders in 2021 after a video surfaced online of him holding up firearms and making threats. Arnette would ultimately fall out of the league after he was arrested for assault with a deadly weapon, another Raider who hit rock bottom. Pick 20 was edge rusher Kevon Chason, heading to the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he would only start 11 games in his first 4 seasons and has since been a backup. The Philadelphia Eagles made a controversial pick at 21, taking wide receiver Jalen Reagor. Reagor never recorded a season over 400 yards and was ultimately traded to the Minnesota Vikings in 2022. In 2023, he was a return specialist in New England. Eagles fans hated this pick, mostly because at pick 22, the Minnesota Vikings would take receiver Justin Jefferson. Widely regarded as a top 4 receiver in the NFL, Jefferson made an early mark, setting the rookie record at the time with 1,400 receiving yards in 2020, finishing second in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. Since then, Jefferson has done nothing but improve, even leading the NFL in receiving yards in 2022 with 1,809. Jettas has proven himself to be exactly what he said he would be and more, which makes the Jalen Reagor pick look even worse for Philly. The next 2 picks are both very solid starting options, as the Los Angeles Chargers and New Orleans Saints would select linebacker Kenneth Murray and center Cesar Ruiz, respectively. Good picks this late in the round. With the 25th pick, the last pick before Jordan Love, the San Francisco 49ers took wideout Brandon Ayuk, who, after a breakout 2023 season, has entered the conversation among the top receivers in the NFL. And here we are, pick 26, Jordan Love. What a pick! Goes to show how much instant gratification fans desire rather than allowing sound organizations to develop talent. Pretty sure that Packer fans are now happy that the Green Bay front office was thinking ahead. How would you redraft the 2020 first round? How much higher should Jordan Love have gone? Let us know in the comments. Since you made it this far, would you become a subscriber to our channel? You'd be a tremendous helper by doing so. We're working hard to bring you stories of the game's best stories. As always, thank you for watching The Halftime Show. See you all in the next one.